You slept 8 hours last night, and you woke up exhausted. Not the kind of tired that a coffee fixes, the deeper kind. The kind that sits behind the eyes and follows you through the day regardless of how much rest you got. The kind that makes simple tasks feel heavier than they should. The kind that has been there so long you have started to assume it is simply who you are. It is not who you are, and it has almost nothing to do with how long you slept. The sensei has observed this pattern for years in students who sleep well, eat well, exercise regularly, and still wake up every morning carrying a weight they cannot name. And what he found, consistently, is that the exhaustion most people blame on poor sleep has a completely different source. One that no amount of rest can fix, because it is not being generated by the body. It is being generated by the mind. And specifically, by what the mind is doing when you think it is doing nothing. The battery that drains in the background. The sensei uses a simple image to explain what is happening. Imagine a phone with a fully charged battery. You put it on the table, turn off the screen, and leave it there for 8 hours. You pick it up in the morning, and the battery is at 40%. You did not use it, but something was running in the background the entire time. Applications you forgot to close, processes that kept running without your awareness, connections that kept checking for updates that never came. Your mind works exactly the same way. Every unfinished conversation you did not resolve, every decision you postponed without deciding to postpone it, every task sitting on an invisible list that your mind has been quietly holding all day, all evening, all night, trying not to forget it, trying to keep it accessible, consuming energy to maintain what was never consciously placed anywhere safe. The sensei calls these open loops. And most people are carrying between 20 and 40 of them at any given moment, without ever having deliberately chosen to carry them, and without any awareness of how much energy the carrying costs. You wake up at 40% not because you slept badly, because the background processes never stopped running. The 3 invisible drains. There are 3 specific habits that generate the most open loops, and therefore consume the most background energy in the average person's day. The sensei has identified them across years of observation, and they are consistent across almost every student who arrives exhausted without understanding why. The first is the unfinished conversation. Not arguments, simply exchanges that ended without resolution, interactions that left something unsaid. Relationships where something is pending and both people know it and neither person has addressed it. Every one of these sits in the background of the mind as an open file, taking up space, consuming processing power, waiting to be either resolved or consciously released. The second is the decision held in permanent suspension. Not big decisions, small ones. What to do about the message you have not answered. Whether to commit to the thing you have been half committing to for weeks, whether to address the situation you keep deciding to address later. Each suspended decision is a loop the mind keeps returning to, checking if it has been resolved yet, finding that it has not, returning to the queue. The energy cost of a single suspended decision is small. The energy cost of 30 of them running simultaneously is the reason you wake up exhausted. The third is the environment that demands without delivering. A physical space cluttered with unfinished things, objects out of place, projects half-started, reminders of things undone visible in every direction, creates a continuous low-level signal to the mind that something is always required. The mind never fully rests in a space that is constantly asking something of it. And a mind that cannot rest in its environment cannot rest during sleep either. Not completely, not at the depth that genuine recovery requires. What sleep cannot fix. Here is what most people do when they feel this kind of exhaustion. They sleep more, and they wake up just as tired. Because the drain is not physical. Sleep restores the body. It consolidates memory. It clears metabolic waste from the brain. But it does not close open loops. It does not resolve suspended decisions. It does not change what the environment is asking of the mind when waking returns. A phone left with 40 background applications running will drain overnight, regardless of whether the screen is off. Turning the screen off is not the solution. Closing the applications is. The Sensei teaches that genuine energy recovery requires two things that most people have never deliberately practiced. The first is closing loops intentionally, not waiting for them to resolve themselves, but actively deciding what to do with each one, even if the decision is simply to write it down and deal with it at a specific time. The loop closes. The background process stops running. The battery stops draining. What remains when the page is full and the loops are closed is not emptiness. It is the particular quiet of a mind that has been given permission to actually stop, not just to pause between obligations, but to genuinely rest in the awareness that nothing important is being forgotten and nothing urgent is being ignored. That quiet is what sleep was always supposed to arrive into. And in that quiet, sleep does what it could never do inside 40 open loops running simultaneously. You are not always tired because something is wrong with you. You are always tired because you have been sleeping with the applications open. Close them tonight, one by one, on a piece of paper before the screen goes dark. And tomorrow morning, for perhaps the first time in longer than you can remember, you might wake up and feel what a fully charged battery actually feels like. Write in the comments how many open loops you are carrying right now. See you in the next video.